Dear President Ramaphosa, in September we are going to Washington DC. We are going to plant 3,000 white crosses on the National Mall bearing the names of people murdered during farm attacks in South Africa. You might recall that when you spoke in New York City in 2018, you said, and I quote, "There are no killings of farmers or white farmers in South Africa." You added that there are no land grabs and that there is no threat to property rights. There was, according to you, merely a process. Now, assuming that the entire country doesn't live under some nightmarish illusion, a statement like that can only be one of two things. It's either a blatant lie or a case of severe ignorance about the state of affairs in South Africa. Because farm attacks are indeed a harsh reality and there is indeed a threat to property rights. In fact, you yourself have said publicly that confiscating land from white people will turn South Africa into the Garden of Eden and the ultimate paradise. Also, given that the Parliament of South Africa has hosted a debate about farm murders several years ago, we find it hard to believe that you truly believe that there are no farm murders. And so, in a little more than a month from now, we are going to take victims and experts to Washington to speak about farm attacks, race laws, property rights, and the incitement of violence against minorities. We're going to publish extensive research about what is happening in South Africa, because in our analysis, South Africa does not suffer as a result of only one crisis, but a conglomeration of crises. These crises, as far as we are concerned, are symptoms of one deeper rooted crisis, an unsustainable political system that has become too centralized and as a result detached from basic realities but impervious to transparency and accountability. And so we are going to tell the world about this because we believe that in order to find solutions, we need recognition of the fact that the crisis does indeed exist. And to be frank, Mr. President, it would not have been necessary for us to do any of this if you, the ANC and the Government of National Unity were open and honest about the state of affairs in South Africa. So in a sense, you can think of our endeavor as a form of damage control, responding to the damage that has been done by repeated public denial of basic realities in this country. And that is why we are going to ask the American government, policymakers, journalists, and members of the public not just to pay attention, but to contribute in their own unique ways to addressing these issues. But there is something more important that needs to be said about why we are doing this. We would much rather resolve the problems of South Africa in South Africa. We know that you have repeatedly said this yourself, that people should not speak abroad about local issues, that we should resolve them locally. The Minister of International Relations has said the same. Whenever international criticisms of the South African government intensifies, the response is that these are South African matters and that we as the people of South Africa should resolve them among ourselves. Now, in principle, we agree. In fact, we suspect that we agree more with this sentiment than you do. The problem is that this requires somebody on the other side of the table. In January, we wrote to you about this. We asked you to discuss the growing governance crisis in South Africa, the deterioration of relations between communities and the state, the need for constitutional reform, decentralization and self-governance, and the increasingly strained relationship between South Africa and important international partners. Our position was and remains that the problems facing South Africa are deeper than disagreements about policy. And that is why we need to talk. Not because we expect everyone to agree with us. In fact, diversity implies disagreement. Not because we expect you, the ANC or the Government of National Unity suddenly to adopt our worldview, but because serious disagreement is precisely when dialogue becomes necessary. And yet, Mr. President, you are inaccessible. Your cabinet is inaccessible. Your parliament is inaccessible. Your courts are, in some important ways, inaccessible. Yet government tells us that we should talk to one another at home. while those who actually want to raise fundamental questions about the political order cannot even get into the room. We know that you recently announced a national dialogue which, according to early estimates, was due to cost 740 million rand. But according to some later figures was brought down to a mere 441 million. Now, dialogue is important, but the national dialogue was not much more than window dressing. Not only did nothing change, more importantly, it was not much more than a conversation among people who already accept the basic ideological premises of the current political project, while merely disagreeing about how to effectively implement this project. That is not a genuine national dialogue. It implied that you can only sit at the table if you agree on how the table is set. But those who believe that the table isn't set properly are not welcome. A genuine dialogue must include those who question the premises. And so, Mr. President, you need to understand that when people cannot be heard in Pretoria, they will eventually be heard somewhere else. The White Cross project does not exist simply to explain what is happening in South Africa. We are not seeking conflict with the South African government, and we're not there to complain. We are seeking solutions, peaceful and constitutional solutions. Mr. President, there is still an opportunity to change this. You still have the opportunity to meet with those who are raising these concerns. You can still listen to the families affected by farm murders. You can still listen to communities that experience racial legislation not just as some abstract policy debate, but as a form of exclusion. You can still listen to valid concerns about the future of property rights in South Africa. You can still sit down and speak with those who are arguing for decentralization and self-governance. You do not have to agree with us, but you cannot have your cake and eat it. You cannot simultaneously tell the world that South Africa's problems should be resolved within South Africa while refusing meaningful access to those who are trying to discuss precisely those problems with you. In September, we will take our message to Washington. We will tell the American public and international audiences what is happening in South Africa. We will display the names of the victims of the very crime phenomenon that you claim does not exist. We will present evidence and we will argue for solutions. But that is just the beginning. We will do much more. We will always be open to discuss these issues with you, but we will not wait idly for a conversation to happen, nor will we accept that a conversation in itself is a solution. If these matters can be addressed constructively here in South Africa, they should be. But if they cannot be addressed and the doors remain closed, you should not be surprised when we take our message to the rest of the world.